Yes, we are good to go now. Any doubts? Anything? Do you have any doubts? Anything? Okay, great. Have you gone through all the videos that they said? Okay, great. So today we are going for uh, Palo Alto Lab for initial configuration. Okay, initial configuration. So previous class we have also seen some labs. In that lab, what we have done, like, can you please recall that in the previous? Yeah, I think we have taken this kind of topology, like there is some fire switch is connected to this PC, and with this switch, our Palo Alto firewall is connected, and with this switch, there is router there, and router, I think there is some PC, right? I think this was the lab scenario. Inside that, we have configured this firewall interface as a management interface. We have changed the this management interface type to dynamic to static, and then assign that IP address, and with that IP address we can access the firewall GUI from this PC. And also we have configured here we have configured NAT to convert private IP into public IP, and public IP to private IP, so we can able to access the YouTube and Google from this PC. And we have also checked that we can easily able to access YouTube and Gmail, all these things, right? And this interface we are getting IP from the DHCP. So these lab I have done, but you can observe one thing here. Our traffic, what's the flow of our traffic? Our traffic is going to hit the switch, and the switch is forwarding the traffic towards ISP, forwarding toward this router, and toward this router it is forwarding towards your default route, right? And when the traffic is coming, it is going to hit this router, right? And this router send the traffic towards your LAN, right? So you can observe that there is no involvement of this firewall, right? There's no involvement of this firewall. So now, whenever we design this topology, we will involve this firewall inside our network. Okay, then we will segregate our LAN and WAN and all these things, right? Okay, so let me do that. So, what will be the today's lab and design, and whatever it will be, we'll discuss in this scenario as well. So, yeah. So today's lab will be something like that. This will be my PC, right? And now this PC will be connected to our Palo Alto firewall, right? And this firewall may be connected to some ISP, you can say internet, right? And with this, I also want to manage this firewall, so I will connect to one on the PC. Or also you can actually manage this firewall from this PC as well, so no issue with that. Okay, so this will be your this will be your management PC. Okay, so I'm going to assign any of the IP address to this PC. Then here, this will be my LAN, right? This will be my WAN, and we can also say this is my inside zone, and this will be my outside zone. Okay, so generally, by default in firewall we have two zone, that is inter zone default. These are the default zone: interzone, interzone and intrazone default. So intrazone, which means you're communicating within the same zone, within within same zone. We will discuss all this thing in later. Just I am right now. I'm just giving the overview. Intra, inter, which means with with other zones as well. Okay. So by default, in that intrazone policy, default traffic is allowed, but in interzone in the policy it is denied. Which means within the same network we can communicate. Let's suppose here we have multiple PC, we have multiple PC, we can communicate among them, no issue with that. But you can't communicating from this inside zone to outside zone. What by default. But you can change the, no issue with that. But by default in interzone, which means among different zones you cannot communicate. By default policy is denied. But in intra within the same zone, by default policy is allowed, which means you can communicate among them. Okay. Okay. So now what will be our steps, what will be the steps that we are going to cover in this? So steps will be, mm, we will create zones. Okay, we'll create zones, then we will, mm, configure interfaces, right? Configure interfaces, then we will set some security policy, and which includes whatever you want to allow or deny that traffic. And if you want to reach towards internet, so you have to configure NAT or PAT over your Palo Alto, right? So this lab we are going to perform here. So before performing this lab, I just want to discuss few of the things. Let's say this is my Palo Alto firewall. This is connected to some switch. This is connected to some ISP, right? From this switch, multiple clients are connected. Multiple hosts are connected. So we can say this is my LAN, and we can say this is my WAN. And then we can also like elaborate. We can say this is my inside zone. This is my inside zone, and this will be my outside zone, right? So this is my inside zone, this is my outside zone. There is one more zone, you will hear that DMZ, that is demilitarized zone, right? DMZ, demilitarized zone. What is the use of that DMZ? So let's say, uh, mm, mm, okay, let I'm going to put it here also. Let's say this is my outside. You can say you are having multiple clients, right? Outside there you have multiple clients, and you have some web server, you have some database which is attached. So you have web server for your client, so that your request will be hit towards the server, and this server is going to serve those requests to your clients, right? This is your database server. So if you connect your server inside zone, when you connect your servers within inside zone, which means you are allowing the outside traffic in your inside zone, correct? You are allowing your outside traffic to access your inside zone, which is not very good practice, which is not good practice. But you also have to serve all these clients, whatever sitting over the internet, right? So for that reason, you can do one thing. You can disconnect all the servers in inside your in your inside zone. In your inside zone, uh, you can simply connect to your LAN networks, right? LAN networks, and you can create one more zone that we can call DMZ. Inside DMZ, you are going to connect your database, web server. You are going to connect your database server, and whatever server you are having, you are going to connect all the server in DMZ, so that when any request coming from the ISP, which means outside, that are not going to hit your inside zone, which is your company's privacy zone, company's secure zone, that is going to now they are going to access your DMZ. Okay, now they're going to access the DMZ, so that your internal network will be secure. Correct. And from now your internal zone is 100% secure. Now here, people from outside and people from inside as well, they can able to access all the server which is inside DMZ. So this zone is 50% secure. Why? Because if your internal user is only now if your only internal user is going to access the DMZ, that will be 100% secure. But this DMZ is accessed from inside as well as outside, so we can say this is 50% secure. So have you understand what is the meaning of DMZ? Why why we are going to configure DMZ? Okay, so this is the that's why we are going to configure DMZ. DMZ is not a special zone. Special zone. It is a name suggested from the identification. Okay, basically we have two types of zone: interzone or intrazone, right? Yeah. So the very first step will be we are going to create zones, and we are going to configure the interface. We're going to configure security policy, and then if you want to access the internet, you can also going to access that NAT and PAT if you configure on that. Okay. So now we are going to look this lab here. Just let me minimize this one. Now let me go towards my lab. Okay. Yes, we are good to go here. Hmm. Just let me access it back. If you have any doubts, you can raise your doubts. Okay. Okay. I think yes. Okay. No, it's fine. Right. So now I'm going to. So in this topology, I have designed this topology. So okay, these topology are designed previously. Okay, previously we have designed this topology. No issue. Okay, inside this lab. So we can delete this lab as well. Now we're going to delete this lab. We will create one other lab. Uh, Palo Alto lab. I'm going to create this Palo Alto lab here. Whatever the required things I'm going to add, I'm going to add some. Mm-hmm. No, no need to add switch here. Now I'm going to add image of firewall. Let me choose my firewall. Mm-mm. There, this is my firewall. I'm selected my firewall. Now let me choose PCs. Let me choose Windows PC. Number of Windows PC. I want two number of Windows PC. One for the client and one for the management purpose. Also, I want internet as well. So I will choose some management cloud. Yeah, this is my management cloud. So okay, ethernet one by one. Now I want to access this Palo Alto firewall via this machine. So I will connect this machine to the management port of this firewall. So connected this machine to the management port of firewall. Now I also want to connect with the internet. So I will connect this firewall to internet as well. Yeah, now our configuration is done. Now I'm going to turn on all these devices. Start, start, start. Yeah. Just turn on this lab. On this PC as well. Just turn on this firewall. Admin, admin. So let me maximize this one for you. Yeah. Is it clear? So now in which mode we are right now? Operational. So first let me discuss whatever I'm going to assign. I am going to assign like 92.168.1.1 IP address to this 192.168.1.1. I'm going to assign management interface to this IP address 92.168.1.1 and 92.168.2.1. I'm going to assign to this interface of firewall 192.168.3.1. I'm going to assign to this interface and no, let's say I want this interface to get from DHCP. Okay, yeah. I'll delete this one. So I'm going to assign IP address to this PC 192.168.2.2. 2.2 will be IP address for this PC and 1.2 1.2 IP address for this PC. Yeah. Is it clear now? Yeah. So now what I will do, I will configure this management interface to change this mode from dynamic to static, and then I'm going to assign this interface. I'm going to assign IP address to this interface. Okay. Okay, yes, I'm inside this mode. So let's say I'm going to show interface management. It will show nothing is configured there. Okay, nothing is configured there. So I'm going to configure this interface. So I will put configure. Now I'm inside configuration mode, and now I will say configuration mode set device config system type from I want to change from dynamic to static. System type static. Okay, system type static. Now I want to set IP address. So set device config system device config system IP address, whatever the IP address, um, 192.168.1.1, and the net mask will be 255.255.255.0. Right now, if I want to move the candidate configuration to run configuration, which means if you want to apply the both command, you need to hit commit. I'm going to commit that configuration. So job is running, and both the command will be committed. Meanwhile, I'm going to assign the IP address to this PC. Now I'm going to this PC. I don't know this PC start later. This PC is Windows 3. So this is PC. This PC is this. I'm going to assign IP address 1.2. So just maximize little bit to 150. Okay. Now I'm going inside this ncpa.gpl properties IP version 4. You can see uh, obtain IP address automatically, which means this interface by default is in dynamic mode, right? And to configure this interface as static, so I will select use the following IP address, whatever I'm going to define here: 192.168.1.2, 1.2. Let it be as it is. From DHCP, you are going to DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. So in DHCP, we are going to get the IP address dynamically. Dynamic with automatically, so you are going to fetch the IP address, right? Here we are manually defining the IP address, no? Yeah, but enter. So I think now 2.2 is the IP address of for this PC. Hmm, Windows 2 2.2. Mine later to 150. So this is dynamic. I will select a static. And dot 2.2. I am going to it. Oh, 2.1. So here Palo Alto commit command successfully completed. Configure commit. successfully. Okay, so now I will try to access this. This is Windows 2, that window. I'm trying to access this PC here, that firewall. Yeah, we'll go inside this 92.168.1.1, right? What it says, just let me check we are reachable or not. Ping 168.1.1. Yes, we are reachable to that. Advance, proceed. Now we have configured IP address to this PC, and this interface. Now we have to configure this IP address to this interface and this interface as well. Right. Now we need to configure IP address to this interface. So we are going to do from there. Yes, we can able to see all these things. We have discussed all the things here earlier, right? So now we'll create. Now we will create. Let me define few things. So so let's say this will be my this will be my inside zone. Okay. This will be my outside zone, and this interface is in inside zone, this interface is in outside zone. So we will create both the zone here. Now let me create both the zones here. Yes, so to create zones I have to go inside network. So you can able to see all these interfaces option are grayed out. If the interface is up, you will see like the green, right? So right now all the interfaces are grayed out, which means so. Firstly, we'll create zones. So we'll go inside that zone. There is no zone is created here. So we'll click here at the bottom. We'll create press add. Now I'm going to add this zone. So I'm going to define this zone as a inside zone, interface type layer 3, because this we are going to assign this IP address to the interface which is inside this zone. Now I am going to here I can also able to add the interface as well, but I will not add those interfaces here. Just click OK. So now here we have created inside zone, but there is nothing is there, no interfaces inside this zone. Okay. Similarly, I can create one other zone, but outside, right? Outside So both zone is created, but we haven't assigned any interfaces inside that zone. So to assign interface, firstly we will assign IP address to those interfaces. I will go inside that interface. So you can able to check Ethernet 1/1 is it inside zone. So I will go inside this interface Ethernet 1/1. Click here. Interface type will be, let it be not a default configuration. Net flow inside that. So here you can able to see security zone, in which zone you want to mention interfaces. So I want to interface inside like zones. If you want to create the zone, you can also create zone from here as well, but I have already created then that those zones. So I can able to see. Let me refresh this one. Go inside the zone. Interface type is L3. So zone, yes, now I can able to see my zone. I am going to mention inside zone virtual router, let set be default, right? It is inside. So by default, we have two policy in the Palo Alto, that is intrazone default, interzone default, and by default there is one router, because Palo Alto is also going to route your traffic na from inside to outside and outside to inside, right? For the routing the traffic, we need a router. Why we use router? To route the traffic to the best destination. So here by default the virtual router, there is no physical router, there is a virtual router inside Palo Alto, that is called default virtual router. Okay, so we have selected default. Okay, interface type is L3, because we are selecting, we are configuring IP address to this interface, and this interface inside the security zone, and virtual router is default. Okay, IP version 4. So we are going to assign IP address from static. Manually we are going to configure the IP address, that's why we have chosen static. If you have any DHCP server, you can select DHCP. DHCP. If you are connected, if you are connected this interfaces to the WAN interface, which means ISP. So there's a protocol running over the ISP, that is triple PoE. Same protocol you have to run over the client side as well. So for that purpose, we will use triple PoE. But right now we are going to assign the IP address from static. So we will click here and define the IP address. I think it is 1.1, if I'm not correct, 192.168 dot 2.1, I think 2.1, right? Yeah. So if I have check mark this one, so it is added. If you want to delete, just check mark here, and you can delete from here as well. Okay. So I am going to click okay. Okay. So what do you think, why this is not up? Why this is not up? Because yeah, yes, because we have not commit this. So we'll go and commit this configuration, commit, but is in progress state. So we have configured the inside interface, that is your LAN interface. Now we'll configure similarly WAN interface. Close. So now you can able to see link state change to green. Now your interface is up. So let me check WAN side interfaces Ethernet 1/2. Okay, I will go inside Ethernet 1/2. Click here, interface type L3 interface. Okay, security zone, it will be inside outside security zone. Virtual router will be default virtual router. Okay, and now I have assigned this interface to this security zone having default route, and I'm going to assign the IP address. And what are the IP address that I'm going to define? Mm, 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 1.2. Okay, no, but here I want IP address from DHCP now, so I will select DHCP. Okay, it will take IP address from the DHCP from here now. DHCP. Clear? Yeah. DHCP client. Now I will commit this configuration. Let the configuration to be commit. Okay, our configuration is committed. So it will take the IP address from the DHCP client. Okay. So now we have what we have done till now. We have created two zones. We have kept both the interfaces Ethernet 1/1 in inside zone, 1/2 in outside zone. Also, we have configured the IP address for that. Now what we have discussed till now. Now we are done with zones, right? We have configured interfaces. Now we have to configure security policy, like NAT or PAT. So now we're going to configure security policies. Okay. So for that, I'm going inside policy. And so you can, if you can see here, you can say I have not created any policy, but these two policy are already created here. That is intrazone, intrazone, and interzone, right? So both the policies, the default policy in intrazone, the action is allowed. Action is allowed within same zone. You can communicate, and for the interzone traffic is, which means action is denied. Okay, so we are going to create our own policy. Okay, so I will click here, add. I'm going to define my own policy that can be inside to outside. Okay, inside to outside. We can give the description tag as well. Now I'm going to define. I have given the name, policy name, inside to outside. Now I have to define source. Source zone will be inside, right? I want to allow the traffic from inside. The source zone will be inside, and source address, you can define any particular address. Like if you have multiple PC, you can define the IP address of multiple PC. If you want to allow all, so I have checked mark this any, right? Any is checked mark. So inside zone, any address we have selected. If you want to define any particular things, you can just uncheck this one and add that particular IP address, right? But right now uh, uh, we want any of the IP address. You can choose there, right? And now we have to define destination. Destination zone will be outside, outside, and outside which, if you want to define any particular IP address, you can add those IP address. Only for those IP address your inside zone user will be reachable, but I want to allow to all, so I have selected any. Okay, now I am going inside this action section. So look, by default action is allowed. If you want to deny, you can deny as well. Okay, right now it is allowed. So click OK and commit. So now your configuration will be committed. Configuration is committed. Okay, now I'm going inside this PC and try to access anything. Inside this PC, open Google Chrome and try to access like to google.com. Eh? Google.com. It says I'm not reachable, right? I can't able to access it. Can you please suggest the reason why it is not suggesting? Yeah, because because yeah. So this traffic is going to hit this firewall, right? So firewall will look firstly firewall. This traffic, which traffic is this? This is L3 traffic. L3 traffic is hitting this interface, so it will check the L3. So it will check like it this interface is L3 interface. It will check the L3 interface routing table. Inside that routing table, both interfaces are allowed. Okay, then it will check the policy. Inside that policy, for that particular source, particular destination, policy is allowed or denied, right? The firewall work like this. Okay, so everything is done. Inside that routing table it is allowed, inside that policy it is allowed, but traffic is blocked here. It is going to forward that request to here as well, right? But the thing is, it is forwarding with private IP, and inside that public router there is only public routes, not private routes. That's why this packet is going to drop here, right? So what we will do whenever the traffic crosses this firewall, then this private IP get converted into this public IP address, and then it will reach towards the internet. So for that reason, now we are going to configure what? We are going to configure now we are going to configure NAT. Okay, so we'll configure NAT here. For the NAT configuration, mm, yeah, we'll go inside policy. Inside this policy, so I've also mentioned that, as well as mentioned this here. This catalog is FCT. If I'm saying the FCT, just understand I'm talking about this catalog. What FCT is? This section. Okay, this section, this entire section. So sorry, this colored section, dashboard, ACC, monitor, policy object network. This is called FCT. FCT, which means functional category tab. Let me, yeah, let me, if I can paste it there, that will be very good. Yes, I can able to paste it here. So you can define this is your functional category tab. Is it okay? I mentioned I mentioned it in your note as well. This is your functional category tab. Okay. Now I'm going inside this NAT. Okay, no NAT configuration is just there. That's why traffic is logged there. So I'm going to create a policy. I'm going to name that policy is NAT. Right. NAT. I'm going to perform NAT for IP version 4. You can provide the description as well. Original packet. Let's say original packet will be source zone will be mm, inside, destination zone will be outside, destination interface, whatever interface, I think interface I have selected 1/2, right? Yes, source interface will be inside, destination will be outside, and destination interface is Ethernet 1/2, right? And service, like whatever service, if you want to define any of the service like https, any kind of service, I want to allow any kind of service, right? So you can allow any kind of service there. You can allow, okay. Mhm. Source, destination, define, translate. So we have defined inside zone and destination zone. So I want to translate type. So translation type I want pat, right? If I want NAT, I will select dynamic IP. Yeah, and if I'm going to click on this dynamic IP and port, which means I'm going to select pat. Okay. Mm, pat and address type translate. Yes, obviously I want to translate this address. So I will select translate address to address type, interface address type. So I what actually I want like whenever any traffic is coming from inside, it is going to hit the firewall, and when it crosses the firewall, so it will take the firewall interface IP address, that is public IP address. So whenever you will take any connection from ISP, let's say, I'll discuss this one. So let's say this is your ISP, right? So whenever you are taking any connection from ISP, so ISP is going to use here public IP, public IP. And it will also use what? Public IP also, no? Because it is over the same link, na? So it will use your public IP, it will use your public IP. So whenever you are connected, this is your on network, on premise network. So when we take any connection from ISP, it is going to configure the edge end with that public IP. So I want, so whenever any traffic is coming from inside and going towards outside, so it is so please translate my private IP traffic into public IP with this public IP that is configured over this interface. Whatever the IP public IP is configured over this interface, it is going to convert it the same. Is it clear? So I want any traffic coming from inside with private IP address that is passing through this interface. It should convert this private IP with the public IP, which public IP? That public IP which is configured over this interface, right? That's why we have that's why we have selected here. That's why we have selected here address type interface address. Okay, address type interface address. Which interface will be there? Interface Ethernet 0/2 and address none. Why none? Because this interface address is assigned via DHCP. So I don't know na what the DHCP address is assigned, the IP address is here. That's why we have selected none. Okay. So I'm going to click OK. And now I'm going to commit. So now I can able to configure the NAT policy. Now I should communicate with internet. Let me check the. This is my PC. Earlier I was not reachable. Let me check once again. Just let me turn off this Windows firewall as well. Maybe firewall is blocking this traffic. Okay, let's cross check the configuration. IP config configuration of 91 created 2.2. 2.2 IP address is assigned to this interface. Right now, go inside this firewall. Just go inside zones. Inside zone. Go inside zone. Inside this zone, layer 3 Ethernet 1/1 is inside this zone. Okay. Outside zone 1/2 is there. 1/2 is there. Just let me clear this thing. 1/2 is there. Now we have created zone. Now go to interfaces. Check both the interfaces. This interface is up and running. 2.1 Ethernet 1/1 2.1 IP address assigned to this interface. This is inside default router. Okay, 2.1 from inside Ethernet 2 default outside layer 3 IP version 4 Naval automated default point default bit DHCP client. So DHCP it got the IP address from DHCP as well. Close. Sorry, server. So we have also got the IP address from DHCP. Uh, Let me check its IP address on 92.168.2.1. 2.1 IP address is also added to this interface. Okay. Now go to policy. Now go to security policy. Security policy is created inside to outside. Inside to outside security policy. We have defined inside zone, inside source port, any destination outside, any action is allowed. Yes, action is allowed. Also, we created NAT there. Let me go inside NAT policy name NAT original packet source zone. Source zone this any destination outside towards this interface. I want to allow all the service any translate packet destination pat interface address interface 1/2 configuration seems to good, but I still want to commit once again. Maybe any service are not reflected at that time. Now let me check once again. We are here. Let me refresh this. Stop this device. Hmm. if this is running lab now, if I am trying to change anything, it will not change. It is not going to reflect there. Reason being, I need to restart the firewall, and right now I don't want to restart this firewall. Concern it is because it will again going to take a lot of time to restart. I'm saying, let it be turn on. Just discuss what we have done today. First of all, if you have any doubt, any doubt till now. So firewall configuration is totally perfect. Firewall configuration is totally perfect. No issue with that firewall. Maybe traffic. This PC is not generating traffic, so maybe that can be issue with that PC. We'll check later. So for the firewall configuration, what we have done. This is our inside zone. This is our outside zone. Outside zone. This is our inside zone. So firstly, we have configured zones, right? In we'll have we have gone inside network f network section, it is available at fct. Inside fct we have gone zone section appear in left hand side. After that I have created created zones. We have created zones here, like we have created inside zone, we have created outside zone. Configured Now we have configured interfaces. We have configured like Ethernet 1/2 interface type L3. We have selected this zone inside um, outside zone, 1/2 in outside zone. Also, we have configured DHCP IP address through outside zone. And now we have interface 1/1, that is interface type L3, that is inside zone. We have configured IP address to a static IP address to 192.168.1.1. After that we have created after that we have created policy. Inside the policy we have named that policy like inside to outside. Inside that policy we have defined source zone, that is inside. After that we have defined source address, that was any, right? And then we have go inside destination zone was outside. Destination address was any. And then inside policy allowed section, action was allowed action was allowed. Okay, action was allowed. And after that we have gone to NAT configuration. For NAT we have named that NAT, and we have going to translate that NAT to interface IP L3 IP version 4. We have select that interface. We have select the interface lie in that zone, that is outside zone. We have selected the IP address from which we want to translate, that is none. Why? Because I don't know what is the DHCP IP address assigned to this interface, right? So I have done all the configuration and commit, right? So let's open now.